busy, booked, exhausted. Your inbox is screaming at you like a siren. Your calendar is still full. Still calling yourself visible and you're just the best kept secret? Turns out I was right there with you, my friend. Wasn't getting seen, was just the best kept secret. Wasn't getting heard, definitely, kind of getting paid. But here, the magic, my friend. It's a collaboration of Adele and Nicole Borghi. The Voice Lab on the school platform shows you how to use podcast spotlights, summit stages, and simplified, yeah, that's right, simple outreach systems so your visibility actually works. Get seen, get heard, join the free Voice Lab on the school platform, and you're going to get it all. Because if you're working this hard, someone else should know about it. Scan the QR code today.
Welcome to a world of unforgettable experiences and immersive marketing. Transform your events into extraordinary moments that captivate your audience. Whether it's corporate gatherings, product launches, or community celebrations, our immersive marketing solutions elevate your events to new heights. Immerse your attendees in a world of audio books and podcasts tailored to your brand. Engage their senses and leave a lasting impression. Explore the power of storytelling with our curated podcast content. From insightful discussions to entertaining narratives, we've got the perfect audio experience for your event. Ready to make your next event unforgettable? Scan the QR code now and book a complimentary immersive marketing call with our experts. Let's create memories together. Elevate your events with immersive marketing. Scan the code and let the magic begin.
All right. Good morning and welcome back to another wonderful, juicy, dramatic, and momentous episode of the Pain Point Podcast. Just kidding. Here to hit you hard. It's a Wednesday. Good morning. And folks, I don't know about you, but it seems like there's a lag in the matrix. And the last time this lag was going on, there was an AWS. Yes, Amazon servers were going down. So who knows? Maybe a glitch in the matrix because Elon is putting his new chip site and he's building that whole city in Texas. So bringing back some jobs to the public and bringing back the tech here so we can be the top tech and no longer sell it out to somebody else. We can all have it here in the homeland. And why is that exciting? Because anytime this guy wants to snatch a robot out of space or launch rockets or launch cool satellites like a Pez dispenser out into space. I don't know about you, but at 2 a.m, yes, sometimes I watch those launches. They're interesting. It's almost like watching a dryer. Why is this cool? Because tech has finally caught up with us and we have released the tech button. And this is what the Pain Point is all about. The Pain Point podcast is bringing solutions to businesses' pain points right here online. It's all about the online. How can you solve the simplest problem getting online and utilizing your services? That is what this is all about. And it's started here with a few virtual reality questions and we've just built out and it's all about the perfect blend of insights, some entertainment, and just diving into solutions for entrepreneurs and realizing in 2026, well, those corporate America people are maybe getting a little pink slipped or deciding to finally leave and do their own cool thing as an entrepreneur. You can do this online. We are going to provide insightful solutions here and simplify your life. And that's what this is all about. It's about engaging conversation to come back to people like coaches and consultants and say, where do I find my peace? Because whether we're getting shut down or we're traveling the globe, you can still work and you can still help your clients. You can assist your clients in their business and travel anywhere and everywhere. And this is going to be great because in a next month, or it's this month, happy April Fool's Day. It is the first of the month, and it is time to start to think. So I'm going to travel a little bit. And so I'll be going on the road and I can do my business online. So who am I? I'm an event to scale visibility leader. And I show entrepreneurs really how to leverage, how to move their virtual events as a marketing machine. Utilize that Anytime you get on a podcast, you go live. It's pushing that SEO, it's pushing that AEO, and you want to build your own authority platform. How can you do that? Start with a podcast. Contact me. Let's chat. You could do summits, you could do workshops. These are all virtual solutions, and they all come down in the smallest, simplest form into your content, into your social media, and you're moving the needle. This is all about marketing your business, and you get to have great and wonderful dynamic conversations. And I'm going to bring in my guest this morning, Adele. And Adele, it's great to have you. It's great to see you. And good morning. I'm glad you're here.
Good morning, and I'm glad I'm here too. Thank you for having me.
Another wonderful day. So while I check out the tech in the background, and good morning, we got people online. I've got Colleen in the chat here this morning. She's there saying hello, and I'm going to check this out. And got Jeff here, the business guru. And he is here supporting us in the chat on YouTube, and there's a few other people. So tell people a little bit about what you do, because you have this great business is perfect for people in 2026, all the solutions you're going to bring.
So um I help people with intuitive guidance and as a soul strategist to what happens when you get that pink slip, or what happens when you just like decide retirement is here because you just can't go back into the office. And it's all about that crossroads. And where do you go next? And I always say the pink slip might be the biggest and best thing that ever happened to you
Yeah.
because you're actually able to take that breathing time and figure out what you want to do for the next section of your life, right? And as more and more people are able to work virtually, like you said, anything's possible, right? And right now, there is that crossroads of companies saying you must work in the office. And the employees are saying, but we haven't worked in the office in 6 years. Why are you forcing us back? And so I say, let's look at solutions. Let's look at different ways you can do the hybrid, go out on your own, you know, maybe even start a whole new career because there's lots of those engineers and accountants that just say, but I can play music. I want to be that artist.
Right. They want to, it's almost kind of like that midlife crisis has been
Mm-hmm.
handed to you in that pink slip, and the universe is giving you permission to do what you want. And hey, don't just jump off and quit the job. Maybe you should keep it and start something. It kind of seems like maybe it's a side hustle, or find interest,
Mm-hmm.
do some research. What's going to work with you? Start putting that business plan together. Take a few hours a week. And unfortunately to me, and this is part of the reason the podcast came online, and why did I decide to birth this interest, is because as I was it was 2020, and I was looking a few years before. I kind of dabbled in a few things. I kind of dabbled in what do I want to do with my life? My career is changing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the world is changing. I need something different. I need something that I'm passionate about. I was very passionate about the work that I did. Even though it seems crazy, I was working in a casino. I was doing security, and what a great way to kind of people watch and see what people are doing on their spring break vacation, and kind of help them out, maybe back to their room or back to reality a little bit because they were having a little too much fun in the club. But bringing them back and be able to assist people in that moment, clean up that, and move on. You get to talk to people, you get to meet people, and the casino, whether it's the locals coming through or people on their Christmas trip coming through, you're always meeting new people. You always get to see new things. There's just so much that you learn. And then we would have a little coffee and breakfast because we in shift at about 6 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and move on about our day. And
Mm-hmm.
it the career was changing, people were changing, so our reactions for people were changing. it wasn't as fun and interesting anymore. The dynamic, the character, the emotions obviously have changed in so many years. But for me, dabbling in that, I didn't put my business plan together. I didn't realize, that I started to realize in networking that I'm going to need to get my stuff together. What do I need to do? What do I need to plan for that transition? So if people are here and somebody's, laid off or they're just burnt out and they know it's the world is changing and it's like, okay, AI is everywhere. AI is taking over. The robots are here. I mean, they just launched some school teacher robots um, to bring them in school. So you're like, okay, how do I compete with this robot? What do I do? So people are burning out, like they're like, this is too much. The last thing they probably want to do is really come online and deal with more tech. How do you share, what do you share with people when they're in that burnout to say, hey, you can utilize this space. Not only can they talk to you, but how do you approach that when they first come to you to solve for that?
Well, and that's an interesting dive into it all because when you're really following your heart essence and you take that time of, oh my gosh, like I just got laid off, or I just can't work in this company anymore, right? And you're like overloaded with, well, I don't even know how to use the AI bots, and I don't like how to even find a job that you can get around them. And this is where I say, just back away from technology right now. Take that time and really start dreaming and listening to your heart's desires to say, I'm a very skilled person. I have amazing soft skills, which people forget that those are what's going to keep you going into the new career, the new job, the new whatever. And instead of using tech at this moment, take that time to breathe. Go sit at the park, start drawing, writing, like getting those other aspects of you that will create the best step forward. Because when I start working with people, it's like, well, I've been um, a software engineer, and all this stuff is changing so fast, and it's like, but you also know that tech is the future, right? And we need good people that are going to build stuff that is in the harmony of the world instead of the disharmony. And I always say the pink slip might be the scariest time in your life, but it also can be the greatest joy. And you can finally take that breath and say, well, what do I really want to do for the next decade? Or, and we're also in a time that like the baby boomers had one, maybe two careers. The
Right.
younger generation can have up to 25 careers. Not change jobs, they change careers in their
Absolutely.
lifetime. Is AI helping that? Sure. But it's also, we don't want to be stuck at a cubicle.
No, we need to get back to earth. We need to get back to life, and we need not to forget the meaning of life, and that we should be working towards that happiness, having fun, experiencing joy. Where are you experiencing joy?
Hmm.
How are you having fun? Are you getting out? Are you exercising? Are you moving? It's that Michio Kaku said it years ago when he was on a podcast talking about, we're going to compete against AI. What do we do? And he said, you can't compete against AI. What you can do is learn to utilize the technology to support you, your business, and your family to make money off of it.
Hmm.
And two, be creative. This is your chance to be creative and create a business. Just think in the early 1900s when the conveyor belt went on, when they started
Hmm.
having these workhouses, these warehouses, and people, were going to these companies, and each person was doing one or two things, just like Detroit, that went down. When you start to see those signs, that's when you start to go, hey, things are changing. What can I do a little bit differently? How can I be a little bit more creative to utilize this? People started doing podcast. The creation of the podcast took over from the media. The
Mm-hmm.
media is still there, but we have the ability to change the world with the conversation and providing solutions on here online. And that's the other way to look at it. Okay, tech, yeah, quite simply, when you're burning out, feels like, hey, tech sucks. This is all over. And I fought it, even though I was born in Silicon Valley. When Pong, back in the day, Pong was there, the fax machines were changing. The 10.5 floppy disk went to, a little 3-inch floppy disk, to a thumb drive, to nothing, right? Where you just have a Google Drive now. But how can I use that? Now I don't have to pay somebody to do that, but I had to start to re-embrace the technology and utilize it. The scary part for me, and I know it can be a scary part for other people, is there's a lot of people out there, if you don't do your research and you don't have better conversations and ask the questions you want to ask,
Mm-hmm.
and be true to yourself about how do I use this and who do I hire? Because people wanted, we'll build out your website for $10,000. We'll put $5,000 there. Oh, and I can do this myself. So starting to figure out stuff myself to say, what do I really want? How do I want it to look? How can I be creative? But now I can hand that to somebody else because I can find people to trust. I've done it myself just to find out, was it not the best decision, but doing that and making a few mistakes along the way. And so through this process, when people are looking at what direction do I take? So when you're talking to people and they're like, hey, there's so much going on, the weight of the world's on my shoulders, they have no idea what direction to take. How do you kind of point that compass north so they can follow that North Star and really take direction and find that happiness and really lead their own life, take it back?
Well, as we're talking about tech, start using the ChatGPT or Claude or whichever one you choose to use. Because ultimately, they're here to get us to ask better questions. We've gotten lazy in our communication with texting. We don't even write words out. Like, there's so much miscommunication. So use AI to say, I'm at a crossroads in my life. What 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 do I automatically do? What's my natural tendency? Start using AI to start asking the deeper, dark, not darker, but the better questions so you can evolve into the next human that you're becoming. And we also, as we start this first day in April, we're in a whole different time. The old is no longer here. That's why the forefront is text is so like in our face all the time, right? And yes, we need it. We need it to do so many things in life, but we also need to take a break from it to get off the screens, to center ourselves and stay grounded. Or you're going to spin out. And then you're going to come to your computer and try to do something, and it's going to go zip, done, because you haven't grounded. Tech only works when you're grounded, or else you start getting glitches. Things won't go live, right? If you're trying to figure out, like, how do you, do this Google Doc to get it, and it's not working, walk away. And you talked about, the exercise. This month of April, it's important to do extra exercise, and it's not huge exercise. If you're trying to figure something out on your computer and it's not working, start tapping your foot, tap your finger. That is enough to say, I just have some energy that needs to shift so I can come back to the tech without it fizzling out.
Well, that's it. Walk away. Like I schedule it in my day, right? So if I'm getting up early in the morning and I take a minute and I start to journal, take that time that's in my calendar, right? Get up, get that coffee ready, start to journal, put my attention out for the day, take
Mm-hmm.
a walk, eat some breakfast, and get to my computer
Mm-hmm.
and then break that up through the day.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just sitting there frustrated and that it's just constant grind, it's constant suckage, nothing's working, the tech's not working, there's a glitch in the matrix, something's going on, and you're looking at this, it's so what can you do to solve for that?
Mm-hmm.
Walk away, come back because it's not going to do anything. And you see scientists, where does that breakthrough happen in the old sci-fi movies? They get super frustrated, they walk away, they don't come back to their lab for a couple days, and then there they are, right?
Yeah.
There's in that kind of proverbial monster that grows in the lab because they let it go. So the experiment worked, right? Now it's the alien overtaking it. Yeah, I know. I like the old 1940s, 1950s sci-fi movies, but if you think about it, that and you look at it like, hey, this project has become this monster that has run away from me that I created, that I can stop it. But now you have control. So the years of trying to fight the tech from coming are are done. It's here. We have
Yeah.
to embrace it. You don't have to love it. It's not the doesn't have to be your best thing. But what are you going to do as an entrepreneur? Now you can have a schedule where you're working, you're doing your computer stuff, or hire someone. What do you tell people? I mean, like, hey, automate, delegate, be a leader, and hire out. People can hire people out to do their social media, their websites, run their events, run their podcasts, so they can walk away from it. How does that discussion go with people to say, look, you're going to have to hire some team. You can't do this alone, whether it's you for a few minutes, but what's your goal throughout the year? So are you helping people plan that, to kind of take that burden away from them?
Well, and it's also before you even get to the hiring part, um, as entrepreneurs, we do it all at the beginning, but it's also, I've always said, don't hand it off until you know what you're handing off.
Right.
Because if they decide to not show up, you still have to do the work. It'll end up back in your lap. But also, what helped me on this journey was instead of trying to post, every day or whatever, and I have to do this, whatever, I block the time. This is my time in my schedule. Every week I do postings. Boom. This is my time. I do podcasting. Boom. Like, and so I'm not like trying to mix and match. And oh my gosh, like I'm, all in my posting. And then all of a sudden, like, what? I got a podcast? Like, Nicole's coming in. I'm not ready for that. But if it's already scheduled that I know I do podcasting at this time, this day, perfect. If I know I'm doing, posts and interaction and even like, you know, potentially new clients coming in for a chat, they only get so many time slots,
Right.
right? Because if you leave your calendar wide open, then you're flying. You don't know what you're doing. And even if you're still in corporate, you haven't left yet. And you had that meeting, but you're just trying to figure something out before the meeting, take the long way to the meeting, right? You know the meeting room is like right beside your office, but no, go all the way around the building because it'll give you that time to decompress from the whatever you're trying to figure out on your computer before you get into the live room where you got to be on the ball to answer questions or to present, right?
Absolutely, because walking is a moving meditation. When
Yeah.
when you're walking, when you're out of your head, when you're out of that monkey mind, it gives you a second to step away. It gives you a second, even if you're going to the stall in the bathroom, just look at it like, hey, this is my space right here, right now. I can take 30 seconds and go, okay, I'm not truly losing control. And there's a huge change in that. And the other thing, is really when you get home, if you're working from home and you still have your family at home, how do you manage for that? Because you could have kids running in, the dog, the cat, the doorbell, all this stuff is going on. And so you have control of your calendar. You should have time, because you do, like you said, post on social media. This is the time that we do it. Because first of all, you're in that mindset and you're ready
Hmm.
for it. You're like, okay, here's what I have to say. Here's the mood I have to be in. Here's who I'm answering to. Here's who I'm engaging with. That is networking. That is marketing in and of itself. And then you have your time together, and then you can step away from it, take a break, go
Hmm.
get a cup of coffee, and now you're lost in the sauce of your home. And,
And
right?
well, and I'm gonna add to that because before I got into the coaching stuff, I used to do energetic clearings for houses and businesses. And this is long before, like I was doing it 30 years ago, long before we realized the how intermingled it can be once you're working from home. And I always say to have your dedicated office space, stop walking around with your laptop, right? Because every time you take your laptop to a different room, it's confusing the energy. You talk about AI, whatever, it confuses the energy. Have a dedicated space for your business, whether it's in an office that you can shut the door and you go, office hours are done, or you have a screen that once you've moved around that screen, office hours are done, because then it says you're not, well, one, you're not having to drive home from the office to say, well, I'm leaving the work to go home to my family, but you're mentally preparing your body, which is all about tech too, because we have tech in our bodies to say the office hours are closed. It's now family time, right? Because you think about the last few years, how many kids are now doing school at home too,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. You're
They have to do
everything's
the
home
same
now.
thing, right? That once they come away from their little desk or wherever they do their schoolwork, school's done for the day. It's now family time. And they need to learn how to break it up just as much as you do, right? So, what's the schedule? Are we having lunch tomorrow together, right? Who's all coming to the table for lunch? And then you also get more family time throughout the day, so not everyone's so needy.
But yeah, and you're definitely putting boundaries there. That's hugely important. This is the time I'm working. This is the time that I'll be with you. So you make that quality time. Go outside, go in the backyard, change the space. You're also changing your headspace, right?
Hmm.
This room is for business. This room stays here, right? When I was first out of the police academy, they would tell me, hey, don't come to work with your uniform, because if you dress in your uniform in the locker, you're mentally getting ready for your shift. You're all in, you're all there. That's the moment that you want to do that. And say, I'm putting my bat suit on. I'm here for this point. And no matter how much you say, I'm always me, you are you, you're 100% you, but you're going to put on a different hat. There's going to be a different belt and different shoes for that dress that you're wearing out to dinner, and a handbag versus what shoes and leggings and gym bag you're taking to the gym. So you
Hmm.
want to put that in and get into that mode, right?
Hmm.
If you want to relax, you're having a glass of wine versus an Adderall, right?
But
So start to think about that, right?
well, I know, but okay, so let's change that to a whole different thing of um, the whole fitness craze and how we're bigger than we've ever been, right? Because we're wearing leggings everywhere. Whether
Mhm.
we're at home, the gym, I had to put it out in the office that you're not allowed to wear them. They're not pants in a
No,
corporate environment. And I'm like, people, right? So, and then you wonder why, well, I just don't feel good. I feel frumpy. I'm like, because you don't get dressed anymore.
exactly.
You don't put on a nice pair of pants. Like, right? You're always in your weekend scrubbies, as I call them, right? Like your
Right.
leggings or your jeans that need to go in the garbage, like, right? So how are you like how you're showing up in your office space at home is how you're showing up in life.
Yes.
So if you're choosing not to get up, get dressed, look presentable as you get on your first call in the morning or even whatever, you start working on your computer, what are you telling the universe? I'm not worth it. I'm not taking care of me to present myself to the world. So why should the world give me anything in return?
That's it.
And there's a whole psychology about this, right? Which I can dive into with people. And it's if you want to be at home working, you still have to get up like you're walking out that door to a job,
Well, that's
right?
that's a that's 100%. We need to change that because where are you at when you're shopping? And I use the Walmart analogy at the beginning of the month, right? So it's the first, maybe the fifth of the month, and you're going to Walmart. That the check's hitting everybody in there at 5 o'clock because I walked into there and I will forever remember this. Yeah, I used to, it used to be me once upon a time. So there's no shame in my game, but I look at the analogy on where was I mentally and how was I functioning? If you're walking into that Walmart now as somebody employed and you're going to pick up some supplies for the business you work for, and as a manager, I was tasked to go over there. So I'm in my uniform in my
Mm-hmm.
company vehicle. And I get
Mm-hmm.
there, it's probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the middle of the day. Everybody's in their pajamas. They
I
smell
know.
like skunk weed. And even the ones that aren't smoking smell like skunk weed. That's the nicest thing I can say because they haven't bathed in a couple days. Their hair is wretched and their kids are screaming.
Yeah.
The lines are extremely excruciating long. And fortunately, they weren't trying to use their money to go into the tech department so I could pay at that counter and get what I needed. I just grabbed some office supplies so they would let me pay for my stuff there. I was like, okay, I
Yeah.
need some pens for work, even though I've got 20 in my pocket because I'm such a nerd. I need more pens, just so I could shop there. But the point of saying this is you kind of giggle at it a little bit, and I like to look at it a little bit funny too. I've been in there in that moment and thinking, I don't belong here. But now coming in, in my uniform in my company vehicle, going, wow. There's no function here. Nothing's getting done. Everybody's unhappy. The place is hot. It smells.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point. It's extreme, but really look at it. Just detach Monday morning armchair quarterback the moment and
Mm-hmm.
say, what am I doing? What am I representing? How am I representing myself? Am I brushing my hair? Am I taking a shower? You need to do that. Hygiene
Mm-hmm.
is healthy because the organ is the biggest, our skin is the biggest organ on our body. And then what are we telling our family? What is the respect that you're giving them? You don't have to do the Lucille Ball thing and get your hair up and get your gown on just to serve the dinner, right, to your husband when he comes home. But give respect to yourself and give respect back to other people. And do go out for that walk, get that get that exercise and start thinking differently. Because those stretch pants is a scenario. I love stretch pants but I'm not
We
wearing
all
them
do.
everywhere I go. They feel good. But then it's a reminder to go, oh, my waist is getting bigger. It's time to start walking again. So take those simple mental
Yeah.
flip, right? So just start to think differently in the transition to clarity. What are you doing? How are you healthy? Maybe those extra 20 pounds slipped in. That happened. Been there, done
Yeah.
that. But now I
Yep.
take that walk in the morning. But I also look at it like it's a moving meditation,
Hmm.
getting some sunshine. I'm in Florida, it's humid. So now I'm getting a spa treatment and I get out of my head for a moment. Just get out of
Yeah.
my head. I listen to some comedy when I walk over to the lake and then, laugh, just get out of my head space and go, yeah, this is what life's about. This is the simple pleasure that I need to have. And not every moment needs to be on the phone. And you don't need to get that perfect shot that you're probably never going to post because you've got 20 million pictures in your phone. So if you start looking at things like, okay, don't need to overwhelm myself anymore. Just because now I'm working at home and I got used to the overwhelm and stress at work, we start to overwhelm ourselves because we think it's better to work through that chaos and in that chaos at all times. So we bring, which procrastinates everything, but we bring that overwhelm back into our lives because we're replacing what we had at the cubicle. We're replacing
Well,
that hatred to from our boss to our spouse, right?
yeah. And I'll also just add in something else that's non-tech, but the most important. I know I fall into this category. It's like the overwhelm of the emails. I just don't want to read them all because I have stopped reading a physical book,
Mm,
right? And it's just recently that that has come back that I'm like, when was the last time I read a physical book? I used to read four a month,
mm.
right? Because when we're reading the physical books, it's rewiring our brain differently. And then it's easier to handle all the emails because your eyes will automatically grab the most important part of that email,
Yeah.
right? But so many people have never read a book in their adult life. Once they've gotten out of high school where you had to read X amount of books, they don't read them.
No.
And it's actually making us, in lack of a better word, dumber than we need to be. And then we wonder why tech isn't working because tech is based on reading. Music is based on reading and math. So if you stop doing one of the essentials of reading, which slows down your writing process, which slows down how you understand math and solutions, and then you go, well, I don't have anything to share with a new company.
You have nothing and there's no conversation. So you notice that this is the conversations that we're having. And this gets into the conversations we have on Zoom. Because
Hmm.
if you're utilizing it and getting back to a quicker solution, if you
Hmm.
want to do a 15-minute call, if you want to do a 30-minute call, if you're meditating, you're exercising, and you're reading something that you enjoy, it forces you to have a better conversation than picking your phone up and going, "Hey, did you see what was on X? Did you see what was on Instagram?" And
Hmm.
and then your mind starts talking, and I notice this all the time. Your people are talking like they text. LOL, BRB. What?
Yeah.
A BLT. I like bacon. And that's where my head goes. I know BRB means be right back, but I don't want to have to translate it in my head if I'm having a conversation because then it makes the conversation worse because I'm trying to break it down. So it's like if you speak another language, and let's
Hmm.
say I'm translating from English to Spanish and I'm reading something, it still takes that glitch, that kind of second to process it to
Hmm.
say something or to read something because you're still having to break that math down. And
Hmm.
now when people are texting and you're talking like everything is SOP, BRB, LOL, stop. We forgot words, we forgot writing. And when you're talking to a group of people, that LOL can be laugh out loud or lots of love. But if I'm assuming what you mean by it, because I only have 30 minutes in a conversation to break it down, and then I have to break it down in the conversation, and then I got to go into the email, and you're talking the same way in a personal email to me, I have to process it, and chances are I'm not going to take heed on it. There's a lot of emails that go out. There's no branding on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no signature. There's no picture of you. I don't get the message. Half the
Mm-hmm.
time, what I loved about the older emails is, I mean, I know I'm a tech person. I got this thing behind me on my background, having a little fun. There's a computer. There's solutions right there, right? Having a little fun. But if your email doesn't come to me, I'm not putting a face with that. And I used to open emails because they had fun little gifs in them, they had memes in them, they had pictures in them, and having fun. Like I have some that go out and the guy's on the computer going, "Oh my gosh," right? He's a little stressed, or one guy with his morning cup of Joe, because it kind of makes you laugh a little bit. Like, hey, we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about, just like we were, talking about the Walmart. You got to laugh a little bit to really think of the situation, how simple it is to make that change. But the other thing is the identity of what we
Mm-hmm.
understand is gone. And if you
Well,
take the identity away, what happens?
so this is a prime example. So I'm from Canada, anyone who's listening. We had a department store called The Bay that was here over 100 years, and it closed its stores, right? And everyone's like, "Well, where do we go to shop now?" And I said, "Where you started shopping when you left the Bay years ago." "What do you mean?" "As long as you keep on ordering Amazon, the stores are going to close. As long as you feel like you don't have the energy or the strength or whatever reason why you can't go to the store, and the groceries are becoming the same way, right? No one wants to go in a grocery store anymore. Great. So you're hiring people to find your groceries, whatever. Why don't you want to go in a grocery store? Because you know why? That grocery store will end up closing. We've had long-term 100-year-old companies close many, many doors because people order online. Why keep a big store of beautiful groceries and wonderfulness if you're going to sit at your home and order? They don't have to keep that store open. It can come from any store.
It
So
can come
tech
from
is
any
good,
store. Yeah.
but careful where you're losing humanity, being with your neighbor. Like, so I'll just the fires in LA. I don't know why I'm bringing that one up. How many of those people knew their neighbors
They didn't.
before the fire,
They didn't.
right? But who comes together in a fire, a flood, a whatever? The community. I'm going to say to people, if you're working at home, go knock on your neighbor's doors. Say, if you ever need help, I'm here. I work at home.
Well, that's just it. Let them know you're here for safety reasons. Let them know you're here to say hello and get
Yeah.
out. So it should be a mix. I mean, in the town I'm at, everything's a franchise.
Well, but
It's
it's
a
not even
small
about the
town.
franchise.
Yeah, but the point is that you're getting that franchise customer service. You're getting that non-care about your community. So it does take away, it does separate people more. So you can go get better service off of Amazon if you're going to have a franchise. What I will say is those stores, exactly like you said, those stores are there to support the community, and the community should be there to support the businesses.
And I'm
And
saying,
yeah,
if you're going to the Starbucks or whatever, there's always going to be that one employee that's going to go over and above to get to know you,
exactly. Exactly.
right? And I'm saying tech is great. It's only as good as the people that you know using it. And I know people that have lived in a area for 15 years and could not recognize the people that lived next door, let alone their car,
Oh goodness, yeah.
right? And I'm like, I don't get that because I know I'm not nosy. I just know because I walk my neighborhood every day. These people have been in an ambulance. These people, the husband's sick. This one, like, I just know things. because I'm observant as I walk. And so you bring that back to tech and you're trying to do whatever and it's not working. Take a step back and start observing. Where is your core energy? Are you frantic? Are you even breathing? So many people, the craziness ends up on tech because they forgot to breathe trying to get the thing done, right?
Yep. Yeah.
You
So
think
yeah,
about
take a breath.
illness sitting at the desk, you haven't taken a good breath. And when I was in corporate, I actually put it on everyone's phone. They get a ringer every hour on the hour to remind them to take a breath. And then they'd say, well, when are you taking this off? I go, when you guys are all back in your bodies, calm, and we can work together again.
Right. Right.
Right? Some people got it taken off earlier than others.
And it's a note to self like, hey, don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to move because you're cutting off your waist right there sitting all day. That's why they had those stand-up moving desk. But what if you stood up and went outside or maybe even took a phone call on your front porch, right?
Hmm.
If there's a space where you can get up and have a conversation with people. And I'll tell people all the time, look, I'm on my phone. I'm either actually going to stop and eat. So we'll have a conversation. If you need to talk to me right now, I don't mind doing it, but I need to have a moment. I need to go into my kitchen. I need to get up. I need to make myself some food. I need some protein because
Hmm.
otherwise I'm not going to get through these next 3 hours. And the other thing is hey, I'm going to go take a walk outside. You're welcome to be on the phone. You're going to hear some background noises, but if that's an okay time to have a conversation, you don't need me to walk you through the tech support because I already know how Zoom works and what you probably need to troubleshoot.
Hmm.
So I can help you on the phone. There's times to get back on it. But with that being said, there's solutions mentally, physically that you can be a
Hmm.
soul-led leader
Hmm.
and that you can come back to influencing your group and audience if you're in the right headspace and if
Hmm.
you're not burnout. But let's talk about, we're just about done. It's a wonderful conversation because we need to look at our mental mess sometimes. You
Hmm.
have a giveaway that I've already shared with people in the chat. I want them to open it up. It's just a simple document. It's also got your Instagram, LinkedIn, and your website on there and a place
Hmm.
to connect with you and book a call. And it's called Transition to Clarity.
Hmm. Well, it's just three different scenarios where I can help people. Like obviously we've talked about losing the job. Um, I'm talking about any crossroads. Like, it's also like your partner's your roommate, or how do you keep going after a divorce or a loved one passes, or you just say, what's next? Right? Because people are going to be hitting that wall of, I can't move forward in whatever this situation is. And I'm all about helping you find the clarity through the transition, no matter the transition. And yeah, I'm book a call. Let's have the conversation. And I'm the first person to say, like, Nicole, like you booked this call. I really appreciate it, but I don't think I'm the person for you either.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know there's so many coaches out there that will just take it because someone's willing to pay. And I'm like, you're doing a disservice because when they actually get to the right person to help them, they're just even further down the rabbit hole. And I'm not all about that. I want to help the people who I'm supposed to help. I welcome you with open arms. I'm here for you, and let's get you through the transition.
100%.
So,
Well said. Well said. Yes, let's get through it together. And I want to remind you guys the links are in the chat. So, just a few things before we drop off. Great conversation, getting out of that headspace and that mental madness and If you're out there doing the mental gymnastics, you should switch it to the physical gymnastics, a little bit of life. That's part of it. Definitely have a great conversation with Adele. The information's in the chat. Don't forget to join the Voice Lab. If you want to have those conversations, if you want to be part and come on the podcast, we offer that is an offer to the Voice Lab members as well. Or you could still contact me. Get on the Pain Point podcast or Monday Morning Business Foreplay. Don't forget, Tuesdays and Thursdays is the Voice Lab, where we bring solutions out there to simplify your life on your marketing, on your business, getting in front of the camera, doing podcast, and also the outreach and the CRM and the machine behind the social media that you need to automate and delegate and make your life simpler. Today is from Tech Chaos to Control, the workshop. And we are opening this up not just to our Voice Lab members, but also to outside the community. We wanted to share with you, how to go from tech chaos to control, simplifying your life and your tech stacks. And as well as, and that is with Colleen Stubbs. And also today, we have a special called Boring Keeps You Broke. And that is from Laura Doman. She is fantastically funny, very rich in how she's bringing that personality and that presence to the camera. An actress, you got to check out her LinkedIn. Join us today. That will be at 3:30 Eastern. Colleen's is 12 o'clock Eastern. And don't forget, this is the magic we're bringing to you to move the needle in your business and absolutely solve for those virtual pain points that you have, so you can go out and have a better quality of life, more fun, be creative, and laugh a little. All right, guys, we're gonna have it at you. Bring back the ending, and we are out. Bye bye. Bye bye.